Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to unbox another elf box, and this is actually the first elf box for this year. This is the January elf box by Sophie and Toffee with the theme Acrylic Floating Oil Shakers. And here you can see this cute watercolor splotchy design with the little shaker example on the booklet, and the first three items we get look like kind of keychain charms. So we have a cloud, a cube and a heart, and they all have faces. I presume the green one also does, it just is turned around. And they come with tassels and some letters on them. Next up we have some shaker. I presume this is probably something like colored water. So we have some milk tea brown and some pink, and one that actually fell out, which is purple. Luckily, Sophie and Toffee sealed most of the things very well, so I am really happy with that, because having shaker water oil everywhere wouldn't be nice. Next up we have these tiny little charms. They're painted. It looks like one of them is actually broken. The fin of the dolphin, the back fin, is actually broken off. But they have been painted quite nicely, and I presume they're for the shakers. And then we have these little fluffy bolts, and we have more keychains. This one kind of looks like an egg. I think it's meant to be too, with the face. I think they're very adorable. I don't know if I would actually use them. Then we have our classic clear shaker oil by them. Quite a large bottle, so hopefully that should be enough for all the projects. And we have a flower kind of shape. And then we get some keychains, and it looks like one of them has fallen apart. We have a clamp hook keychain with a little bell and a tassel. I got one in yellow and white. I don't know if colors in these vary. I can imagine though, because I know they have other tassels, but yeah. This one just seems to have been pulled apart. I think just simply using pliers and just pull it together should work. It is luckily quite a stiff hook, so I think once I close this one up it should hold pretty well. But yeah, it's a shame that it fell apart in the first place. And then we have all of our shaker things. So these are acrylic based, and we have it looks like two basically Starbucks kind of boba tea whatever cups. So you have one with a rounded lid and one with a flat lid, and they both come with straws. Then we have a backpack, and it looks like one of the just old tube TVs with the antenna directly fused into it. And then we have a perfume bottle and a paw. So quite a variety of themes you can make. And if we look into the booklet, we can see a lot of cute examples. It seems like indeed the animals were meant to float into the shakers. Although I can't see the panda that they added to the other one as an example, but I guess, I don't know, maybe that was just an artistic choice. And then of course they show you how to make these. So first you fill in the glitter, and the embeds, and then you actually glue it together already. And then you fill it. Luckily they have some quite wide holes in the bottom for filling, so you don't need necessarily have a very sharp point syringe, which is quite good, because I know of some of their earlier shakers, especially their resin ones, they made the holes you had were so tiny that you only could use a needle-tipped syringe. But for these they seem to be quite fitting. I think even the shaker oil nozzle thing should fit into them comfortably. And here we have the showcase winner for the miniature cat cafe, and I have to say it looks quite nice with the Miniverse Make It Mini Kitchen as a display for the miniatures. And it seems that's it. And yeah, let's actually get started with a project then. I always really hope that the booklets have some showcase stuff, because I really love their showcase for people having made stuff. But some of them just don't have them, which is okay, but I always really like when they have those, because it's a really great inspiration to see what people are making. Anyways, for this craft I actually decided on 3 of the shakers. I'm gonna go with the perfume bottle, which I'm gonna fill up with some fake gemstone-esque things and some of these like pink and reddish leaves. And then the paw print, which I'm filling with these like loose gemstone bits that we got like in one of the prior boxes. And for the cup one, I'm actually getting out the boba tea that we got for a like previous project sometime. And I decided to glue them. I want some sturdy glue that actually lasts a while and will be watertight, so I'm using this like really strong industrial 2-component glue. I actually used it before to glue stones back into jewelry, so I know it's very strong and it actually dries kind of clear. Here, due to the mixing, it is a bit off-white, and you can actually like see it. It still will keep its yellow sheen. I wouldn't actually mix anything into it since it's meant to be industrial strength glue. But yeah, I know it will dry very nicely and it should seal this up well. And, you know, it isn't as flowy as UV resin can be and as temperamental. And I actually know it will definitely glue this. The only issue I had was with the cap, where the cup would meet the cap. It was like quite a gap. Like the other shakers fit together pretty snugly with the grooves they had. The cap really had a gap in there. So I needed to fill it up a bit more, but in the end I think it worked well. And after I glued all of them, I actually went over it just with some alcohol wipes, like what you would do with uncured normal resin. This stuff takes like 12 hours to cure, so, you know, you have some time to wipe it off, and it actually works really well, just some alcohol. And for the next part, I was experimenting with shaker fluids. As you can see, I have 3 cups here, one with agar-agar, one with starch and one with glycerin. The starch one didn't really bind, it like clumped weirdly, even though I made the starch slurry beforehand, so that didn't work at all. As for the agar-agar one, that actually did some really nice swirls once I had the mica powder in there, as you can see. As did the glycerin. I actually couldn't really see a difference between them. I don't know if there will be one in the long term. I didn't mix too much agar-agar in there, just a little bit, about the same amount as I did glycerin in the other one. I mean, all it does, it doesn't really keep the bits floating if you don't use pure glycerin or anything. It just helps with the water to like make the mica powders basically float around a bit more. And then my shakers were actually dry and I could finally start mixing up colors to fill. For the boba tea, I didn't want the like chocolate color they had. I wanted to make like a green tea version, so I'm using acrylic inks. Just a green, a white, and to tone it down a little bit, this like brownish red rust color. Just to tone down the vibrancy of the green a little bit, and it worked quite well, you know. Things that are on the opposite side of the color wheel tone each other down, so yeah. Red tones down green in this case quite well. Not a pro artist in that regard, I just learned that over time from experimenting, mixing colors, so you know. Not an expert to give advice on that, but yeah, it worked, so. But anyways, I filled it up with shaker oil first, just to make sure I know which levels of shaker oil I want. And then I basically filled the rest in with the fluid, and I'm just using a large pipette. Actually put down some tape into the tiny cup things that I cut off, just to keep it angled a bit, to keep the like opening from getting any fluid in there, because when I put resin there, it might prevent it from curing and, you know, all that weird stuff, and it might creep up in between the seal and just prevent it from like sealing up altogether. So basically I took some cups and I just like glued the shakers in there upright so they would stand, and then I just like, yeah, sealed the edges so they couldn't turn anymore. And then for the paw print, all I did was basically do the same. This one I filled in with a little bit more shaker oil, and it was too much, so what I did, I actually, since the shaker oil cup fits right perfectly in there, I actually just pressed the bottle, you know, so it had a little bit of a vacuum, put it back through the hole and pressed it against it so nothing would run off the sides, and then I basically like sucked up the like shaker oil I didn't want to have in the paw print anymore. I hope that made some kind of sense, but so just so I don't have to tilt it out and waste it. And then what I did was I thoroughly cleaned everything with alcohol wipes, just so there was no oil residue left. And I also glued the cups down at a slight angle again to like make sure that the holes were free of anything. And then I actually used a Q-tip to like really make sure that the holes where the glue would go in and the top did not have any of the oil residue. Because, yeah, oil can be used as a separator and the glue will just not stick if there's any. And then I'm using the same glue that I used to actually seal the sides before. And I'm just basically smudging some on there and then trying to get the plugs in. The plugs fit quite snugly, so I had a bit of struggle in some and getting them all the way in, but it works. Now I wouldn't actually poke with anything because they might fall inside if you like use anything that has a point just to poke them in. I would actually just use your fingers and like try to get them flush because that seemed to work quite good with for me actually. And then I just cleaned off the resin and actually put it to the side to cure. And here's the final result. In the like cap of the perfume bottle, some of the leaves got stuck, but with some minor convincing, you know, I got them out again. And in the end, I think the swirling definitely looks well. I used pure glycerin for these, by the way, because it's old glycerin and I like kind of want to use it up. And yeah, it seems to have worked quite well for the swirls. Of course, the mica powder will settle quite, you know, quickly, but while you're swirling it around, the swirls are really, really beautiful. As you know, I did try a kind of glycerin-based product before. I used soap for my skull with the liquid core, and that one worked quite well. And so I knew glycerin would work. I guess it's the thing that most people use when they make like any kind of shaker, because it's just like so easy to get and maintain. As for the little cup, it seems like that since, you know, white pigment is actually quite a bit heavier, it seems to have sunk into the lid and some actually stuck there. I couldn't get it off, but I could get most of it off, so it's not really bothering. And then all I did was I used some just simple super glue, glued in the straw, which, by the way, the opening goes on top, like it's an open straw, which, yeah, definitely didn't try to put it in backwards before. And then I just cleaned the glue up, and here they are. You can actually see after the boba tea thing sit for a while that the colors are actually separating, which I think is quite cool. You can see in some boba teas that, because they don't mix the tea and the milk first, that they actually also have this kind of color separation. So I think it's really cool that when you let the shaker stand for a while, it gets that. And otherwise, the swirling is really beautiful in my opinion. And I love the like little rattly bits in there. Like the stones are quite nice to shake around and like hear them rattling inside. I couldn't really catch that on video with the sound because of the background noises. But I think overall, even just seeing them swirl around and all that is quite a lot of fun. And I'm happy with the ratios that I chose for the oil to, you know, colored part. Definitely makes it fun to play around with. As for the bottle, if you like swirl it around, it like turns super nicely and the leaves float really freely. I wasn't really sure if they would or if they would just stick on the sidedress. One or two of them do, as you can see, but the rest, even the stones, float around quite freely when you just twist it a little bit. It's super mesmerizing. As for the shaker cup thing, I guess this one is a bit more uneventful. It has a bit less liquid. You can kind of try to make it look foamy with the like little bit of shaker oil that you have in there. But it's still a lot of fun to like play around with, and visually I have to say that I kind of like this one the most. For like fidget toy reasons, the other two are definitely better, but for like just having something as like a keychain or something, I think my favorite definitely is the boba tea. But anyways, overall I think this box is quite nice. The only thing I don't really care for are the like keychain things. Yes, they are cute, but I don't think they really fit the theme. I would have rather seen them add some more like mica pigments, glitters and all that. Because yes, we had some colored water and we had some shaker oil and some like tiny embeds, resin pieces to like have as floating things. But we didn't really get much more for decoration. But overall, I love the forms they chose as acrylic shakers. I think they're very versatile. And I also think like some of them, like especially the TV and stuff, would definitely leave a lot of space for creativity, which I think is super nice. And yeah, anyways, let me know in the comments down below, what were your thoughts about this box? I have to say, definitely a great box for shaker making. You know, I try to always avoid resin shakers because they're messy, but these ones were actually a lot of fun and not that messy at all. But anyways, as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!